not met me, my name is Dr. Becca. I am a naturopath and I love all things holistic, and I like to get to the root of the symptoms, but most important, I love to educate people on the practical things and how they can apply things in their life so they can live a healthier and more biological living. Meaning biological, how our body is designed to live on a day-to-day basis. So tonight, healthy swaps and eliminating the toxic load so our body can work much better. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about cellular reboot, and what the cellular reboot is the communication with our cells so they can communicate with each other, so our hormones work better, our appetite works better, our insulin works better, less inflammation. The problem with today's society that we're so overburdened with toxins that it becomes muffled and there's no communication. There is a broken signal kind of in between, or not necessarily a broken, but muffled. It's like having two radio stations and it's in between the two stations and you hear both stations at the same time, or you hear static. That's what I'm talking about. We want to tune in the radio so we have clear communication with our cells so they can start communicating, our hormones work better, and we heal the body from the cellular level. I gave this analogy before, and I'm going to give it again, and I'm going to cover just briefly what the 5 pillars of the cellular reboot and how to allow the cells to communicate. But I'm only going to cover one tonight, and that is the healthy swaps and decreasing the toxic load on our cells, because it's super important, and that's why I put it on pillar number 1. The cellular reboot, the 5 pillars: 1 is to eliminate the toxic load. 2 is to have the right minerals and signaling so it can signal those cells to communicate with each other. 3 is to open up those elimination organs so we can take those toxins out of the body, because if we're accumulating, or if we're not eliminating, we're accumulating, and if we're accumulating, all sorts of things can happen. Number 4 is controlling the insulin or the blood sugar, and then 5 is the inflammation. We're gonna get to the pillar number 1. Healthy swaps, I'm gonna talk to you about certain ingredients that are in the 1. So according to the EPA, the Environment Pollution Association, the report showed that over 4 billion pounds of toxic chemicals were released into the U.S. environment in just 1 year. 4 billion pounds. That's the air, the water, the land. We are breathing, we are eating, we're drinking. It's all the things that our body is exposed to on a regular basis. Toxins really disturb down to the cellular level, the mitochondria. We heard what the mitochondria, 5th grade, it's the powerhouse of the cell. It's the battery of the cell. The mitochondria is what produces ATP, the energy. So when people are sluggish and they don't have the energy throughout the day, it's a cellular communication problem. It's an overtoxicity and undernourishment problem. We want to fix that and start to eliminate things that we have control over. And there's some things we don't have control over, and I'm not saying go through your house and throw everything away. It's a gradual thing that you can swap. Here and there, when you run out of dish detergent, you can swap to a healthier, things like that. I want you to write this down, because this is extremely important. And I want you to say this out loud too, because if you speak it, you hear it, and you write it down, you're gonna understand it more, or you're gonna remember it more. So you cannot heal what's constantly being irritated. You cannot heal what's constantly being irritated. So if you're trying to heal your body and you're constantly irritating it, here example is if you scratch your hand and you have an open wound, cells gather around to start producing more tissue on that hand. So immediately it goes to work. We don't have to tell all these cells to start working. But before it even heals, you keep on picking at it and you keep on opening it. And then you leave it alone for a little bit, then you come back and you pick on it. So you keep on irritating that spot. It will not heal. It takes longer to heal if you keep on irritating it. And that is also with the environment, the toxins, the foods that we're eating, the personal care products, all these things. If we're constantly irritating our body, it's going to have a harder time to heal on the cellular level. It's like we're picking that wound all the time. So we need to allow the body to heal and give it the right nutrients for it to heal. The one thing that we want to really pay attention, and it's prevalent here in the United States, is the Western diet and processed foods and ultra processed foods. These are literally dead foods. I call them frankenfoods because there is a list of all these ingredients on there that are irritating to our system, wrecking our gut. There's no enzymatic reactions for the body to do its process, and we need the enzymes for it to work. So extremely important to have those live enzymes. We'll come back to that. I was talking to one of my clients today, and she said she was in Europe and she was looking at, they stopped by the store and they bought a Fresca, a soda pop there, and they looked at the ingredients, and there was 4 ingredients in that soda, the Fresca, 4 ingredients. So they looked it up, how many ingredients are in the United States with the same Fresca. I think she said 120. 4 in Europe, 120 in the United States. And we were wondering why it's so much harder here. You can go to Europe and have pasta and bread and wine and you feel great, you're not bloated, you lose weight, and then you come back to the United States and we're being poisoned. So we have to work a little extra hard and be very mindful here in the United States compared to other parts of the world. So the Western diet, processed foods, choosing whole foods instead of processed. Getting back to the basic how our ancestors lived. If it's grown in the ground, your fruits, your vegetables, the nuts, fish, beef, chicken, things like that. But not only that, we're going to take it one step further. So one step further on that, eating clean with the meat and getting your protein in, you also want to look to see how that meat is grown. Because if you're like, I'm not on any antibiotics, why is my gut wrecked? Well, if you're eating all this protein that, this big protein craze, we need protein, it's the building blocks. But if that protein is processed, if that protein has a lot of antibiotics and is fed corn, that we are eating it. So we are only as healthy as what the foods that we're eating or what our food is eating. And we talk about that in our gut too. We have the probiotics and the prebiotics. Prebiotics are the probiotics food. We have the good bacteria and the gut bacteria. So all of the body is interconnected. Another thing we really want to pay attention to is BPA, phthalates, PFAS. They're the forever chemicals. These chemicals are hidden in personal care products. They're hidden in cleaning products. And they're hidden in microwave popcorn, the forever chemicals. And these forever chemicals, they literally, like when it's heated up, they are leached into our food even more. Like microwave popcorn is horrible for you. If you're gonna have popcorn, do it old timey, like on the stove with a pot and oil and kind of move it around. It's gonna save you a lot of calories and a lot of chemicals as well. So these forever chemicals, and they're endocrine disruptors. So there's a lot of endocrine disruptors, and the endocrine system controls your hormones. And your hormones, and it's blocking the signals. It's blocking the signals for insulin. It's blocking the signals for growth hormones, for hormones that are being produced at night, hormones that tell you if you are full to stop eating, hormones that are telling you when you're hungry. So all of these hormones interrupting it. It's blocking the signals so the body is not able to communicate properly. There's also pesticides and herbicides and Roundup. So people that are allergic to wheat, it's not necessarily the wheat. Like I said, in Europe, they can eat bread and they're fine. It's what's sprayed on our wheat that's disrupting our microbiome and the cells, the conjunction that's in our gut. And when that is being torn all the time, it heals, torn, heal, torn, heal, torn, and all of a sudden it's going to be torn and it's not going to heal anymore. And then leaky gut happens. And then whenever we eat, those particles are larger particles and they get through the gut lining. And then we have allergies. Then we have, all sorts of gut issues. So we need to be mindful in reading labels. Ingredients really, really matters. Also, what we drink is important. Tap water is, nobody should be drinking tap water. There are so many chemicals in tap water that there's fluoride and chlorine that's disrupting our hormones and wrecking our gut. Get a good filtration system. On the fridge, that might not be good enough, but it's a step forward versus just tap water. Food additives, sugar, seed oils, processed oils that really are wreaking havoc in our hormones and the signaling, trans fats that is added to our foods to preserve them, to make them more creamy, like peanut butter. They add, it's a trans fat in it. So they add an extra hydrogen to the structure so it can be nice and creamy for the creamy peanut butter. It's not all separated like whole peanut butter. It's important, all of these things. Body care products. Women are, and men too, but women more so because we wear makeup, but we all are exposed to a lot of chemicals in our day-to-day. Deodorants, if you're wearing antiperspirant, they have aluminum. It's stopping you from sweating. Antiperspirants. So getting a cleaner deodorant that allows you to sweat. Our lymphatic system is one of our elimination organs. And if we're not sweating, we're accumulating those toxins. So the lymphatic system is extremely important to get it moving and flowing. Another big thing that disrupts our hormones and the signaling from our cells so the cells can communicate and our hormones can communicate are scented candles and air fresheners and fabric softeners as well. Going more plant-based, beeswax, soy candles, doing that, getting rid of fabric softener. Also making your own toothpaste is another one because all the fluoride and the chemicals. If you look behind a toothpaste, keep the reach out of children and then do not swallow. So if it's toxic to children and it tells you not to swallow, and it's something that you're putting in your mouth, and our skin is the largest organ, and then in our mouth, as we know, we have all these capillaries because of the buccal absorption in our shield, in our radiance, and all of our strips. We know how quickly it brings from our mouth to our bloodstream to get that nutrients. So think about it when you have toothpaste, how quickly it's absorbing into our bloodstream. So food storage containers, switching from plastic because it leaches the plastic into the food, switch to glass, you probably know that. Also cookware, switch from the Teflon to cast iron or stainless steel is really important so it's not leaching out those plastics in. Also another thing, and for me, I started this about 15 plus years ago, slowly taking things out of my household and swapping with a cleaner brand, cleaner solution, making my own stuff. It wasn't an overnight thing. So don't freak out like, oh, I have to do all this stuff to help me. Every little bit helps. It's a drop in the bucket. Our liver needs to process everything. So if our liver is overburdened with all these additional toxins, it's going to spill over to every aspect. It's going to spill over to weight. It's going to spill over to joint pain. It's going to spill over to brain fog. It's going to spill over to dementia. It's going to spill over to something, the weak link in your body, if we are over toxic. And that's why I wanted to talk about the healthy swaps to eliminate the toxins. Another thing, swap out coffee. Coffee, we have Perk, amazing. It does not have any mold like traditional coffee out there. Swapping out your meats, I talked about that. And then swapping out vitamins to a whole food vitamin. And if you are not consuming a whole food vitamin, it is just a portion of the whole. On the difference between vitamin C and ascorbic acid. So what is the difference in ascorbic acid is not necessarily bad as a whole, but it's not a whole. It's not a whole thing. When you have the vitamin C, like we have in the one with Arceola cherries and camu, it is a whole food. A vitamin is not a vitamin if it doesn't have the activation parts of it. So you have to have the whole activation. So vitamin C, if you look at it as a cell, ascorbic acid is just the shell of it. Vitamin C as a whole food has all these cofactors in. Now these cofactors are extremely important. They have these cofactors that help strengthen the blood cells. They have cofactors in that carry the oxygen to the red blood cells. Cofactors in the vitamin C that produce more white blood cells, so you're not going to have infections as much. And then the shell, ascorbic acid is the shell of it, the antioxidant, helps protect everything in it. So a lot of supplements out there, they just take the shell, but they don't even use whole foods. They use a synthetic, man-made, that's never been in the ground, that's never seen the sun, that's never had any nutrients and enzymes and minerals and cofactors as what God created it to be for our body to work as a whole. So the analogy I gave is a protein bar, and you're eating the wrapper and throwing away the nutrients inside. That's what it is. It's like having a car with no engine. It's like having a baseball team with only one player. It's another analogy that I gave is having a watch, but it's missing all the gears inside, so it can't tell time. Or ordering a pair of pants and all you get is the zipper. It's not going to do you much good. But the problem is, because it's made from GMO and cornstarches and these modified chemicals, the body doesn't recognize. So it has to go into our own body reserves and take our own nutrients that it's reserved in our body to complete it. So it's actually doing more harm when we're consuming all these synthetic vitamins, and it's robbing the body. So I was researching like what vitamin or what part of the body or nutrients it's taking away from the most when you're consuming this synthetic ascorbic acid, and that's copper. And when our copper is depleted, then our hair, we start to lose the color of our hair. We start turning gray a lot quicker. We start losing the melanin in our skin, and it also robs the iron in our body. So we might be deficient in our iron, and then deficient in our iron, then we become more fatigued throughout the day. So you can see how there's a domino effect when we are deficient in these whole food nutrients that we have. So it's very important to get a whole food vitamin and complex as a whole, because they're two different things. It's not the same thing. When you're reading the label, ingredients matter, but not only ingredients matter, it's the sourcing matters. So you can buy broccoli from the store and the soil's completely depleted and you're just eating broccoli with no nutrients, or getting it from a farm that the pH of the soil and it's rich in vitamins and minerals in the soil, and then that broccoli is being uptaked with all of the nutrients. That's the difference. Then your body is gonna recognize it. It's gonna start to heal and start to repair itself. So it's super important to read the labels, swap out the not so good with a better choice. And there's so many out there that are synthetic vitamins that it's dead. It's part of a whole, and the body doesn't recognize it, and people are being depleted from the inside out because their body is like craving these nutrients. And that's why when people get on the one, if they've had heartburn, their heartburn, subsides because they're getting the minerals and the enzymes for it to start working. They're getting all of their 20 essential vitamins and minerals. They're full, complex omegas. You can never find an omega-3 in nature. It's always a complex of omegas. All the 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, all of the omegas in one. 32 superfruits, 9 probiotic strains on it to repair the gut health and the lining of the gut. Super important. 7 digestive enzyme, and it's 72 trace minerals. So we have the trace minerals that are extremely important that we need to get for our body to send the signals for the repair, the elimination and the repair all in one. And then I can't forget the phytoplankton, which helps the free radicals. So if we're exposed to all these toxins, the phytoplankton helps takes those free radicals, kind of eats them up like a Pac-Man and spits them out and gets rid of them. That is my favorite product out there. And so read your labels and watch Ingredient Matters, because it sure does.